All right, now that you can picture what we're rebuilding, let's talk about how to do it. This is where we shift from demolition to construction. You've cleared the debris, you've calmed the chaos, and reestablished rhythm. Now, your job is to give it the raw materials, the bricks, the mortar, the scaffolding it needs to actually rebuild, because your gut can only use what you feed it, both nutritionally and environmentally. If your inputs are weak, your output, the energy, digestion, mood, all of that's going to be weak as well. So today we're going to walk through exactly what helps those cells to regenerate and what shuts that process down. Not just on digestion, but on your hormones, your thyroid, your brain, even your energy production. Because remember, this is the metabolic loop. We are one big ecosystem, and this loop is always working. So we're either doing the things in order, we're building that foundation in the gut that affects our hormones, and those hormones are helping us to detox, and they're sending the right signals to our cells to produce the good amount of energy so our whole body can function, and we're moving towards health. Or we have a gut that is staying inflamed, that's interfering with our hormone production, that's really cutting down on the energy that our cells are able to produce. And that is taking us towards dysfunction and sometimes towards disease. Okay, so let's talk about the raw materials that we need for repair. Your gut wall isn't built with willpower, it's built with nutrients. And there are six main categories that make the biggest difference. And together they set the stage for balanced hormones, calmer inflammation, and clean cellular energy. So think of glutamine as premium gasoline for your intestinal lining. Your gut cells run almost entirely on it. And when you're stressed, or when you've been fasting for too long, or fighting infection, your muscles steal glutamine to use elsewhere, leaving your gut cells starved. So, adding glutamine through food like grass fed beef, eggs, bone broth, or a targeted supplement feeds those cells so that they can regenerate. So I want to take a little time out right here and stop and say, yes, I will tell you about supplements, but I am a nutrition first practitioner. That's how I run my practice. I want to tell you the things that you can add to your diet. And then we're going to talk about the things that you can do as far as creating those good habits, lifestyle changes, those sorts of things that you can do that supplement what's in your nutrition. And last but least, if you need to supplement, there will be supplement recommendations for you. But I really want you to get as much as you can get in your diet so that you're not reliant on supplements, because supplements have to have a healthy gut. And the way that you get a healthy gut is by taking care of it, by doing those lifestyle things. You cannot have bad habits and a bad diet and take supplements and get the same result. It's not going to happen for you. So I just want you to understand that, to hear me when I say that we are going to talk about nutrition first. We're going to talk about lifestyle. And then, yes, I am going to tell you some supplements, but get it into your diet. Adding glutamine through food like grass-fed beef, eggs, bone broth, or a targeted supplement feeds those cells so they can regenerate. And it's often a missing link for people who say, I've cleaned up my diet, but I still can't tolerate anything. There's more work to be done. So if you're still feeling that brick in your stomach, irritation, bloating, your digestion doesn't feel like it's moving through, you're constipated, or you're alternating between constipation and diarrhea, then you've still got more work to do. And it could be some of these building blocks that you haven't repaired the cells yet. So here's the bigger picture. When your gut cells have enough glutamine, they stop leaking undigested proteins into your bloodstream. That calms your immune system. It lowers systemic inflammation, and it frees up your adrenal glands, which means that cortisol finally has a chance to normalize. Now, we're going to be talking about hormones next, but this is a big thing, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret. All hormones are not created equal. There is a hormone hierarchy, and just like the food pyramid, but please don't follow the food pyramid because it's trash. But just like the food pyramid, on that base, that's foundational. And on the base of your hormone hierarchy is cortisol. So yes, we're worried about those sex hormones. We're worried about your thyroid, but at the base of that, we We have to take care of our cortisol. When you have inflammation that's just still burning, even if it's smoldering, it is causing your cortisol levels to be high. So later, when we talk about metabolic hormones in our next module, a couple of weeks away, you'll see that calming cortisol is one of the fastest ways to turn weight loss resistance around. So I'm giving you a little heads up. All right, so next are zinc and copper, your spark plugs. So these are two very important minerals, and these are two important minerals that you would have seen in your hair tissue mineral analysis if that was part of your metabolic loop method program. They turn on the enzymes that knit new tissue together. Zinc closes wounds from the inside out, and copper ensures collagen forms properly. So if you're downing all of those collagen supplements, but you don't have enough copper, you're wasting your money. Copper ensures that collagen forms properly and goes to where it needs to go in order to build that tissue. Too much of one suppresses the other. So we always want to balance, because zinc and copper have the same receptor site. And so when they kind of vie for those receptor sites, so when you are taking a zinc supplement, but it doesn't have copper with it, then zinc is going to fill up all those receptor sites and you're not going to have any copper. Same thing, if you have a reason that you have a lot of copper in your body, then zinc is not going to have a spot in that hormone receptor. So if you are taking a zinc supplement, you want to be sure that it has some copper in it. And the ratio should be 10 to 1 or 15 to 1. So 10 to 15 parts zinc, 1 part copper. So here's where the connection widens. Zinc is also required for thyroid hormone conversion. It helps T4, the inactive thyroid, become active T3. So leaky gut that drains zinc will eventually slow your thyroid, leaving your body tired, puffy, foggy, even if your labs look normal. And repairing your gut is how you reclaim that conversion power. It's how you get your thyroid to work better. Not your thyroid cell, not your thyroid gland, your thyroid hormone to actually work in the cell better, because that's where we care about the amounts of and what type of thyroid hormone that we have. It's inside of the cell. All right, glycine and collagen. Glycine and collagen are your glue and framework. They create the silky mucosal coating and give the gut wall its strength. If the gut wall were drywall, glycine is the plaster and collagen are the studs behind it. You'll find glycine in collagen peptides, bone broth, even gelatin. And a few tablespoons daily can make a measurable difference in how quickly that mucosal layer rebuilds. So that raincoat, if you will. Collagen also matters for joint comfort, skin elasticity, vascular health, because connective tissue everywhere shares the same amino acid pool. So you may have heard something about supplements like take this for your joints, take this one for your hair, take this one. No, your body is, when you take supplements or when you get this in your diet, your body knows where it needs it most and it's going to send it there. So collagen is important, but if you don't have amino acids in your diet, if you don't have enough proteins in your diet, then collagen is going to be a waste for you. You really need the amino acids. So when your gut heals, your skin and your joints often follow. And that's the body that's working in a loop, not in isolation. So we talked about vitamin D already as a hormone in the last video, but now let's pair it with vitamin A. They work like co-foreman at the same construction crew. So vitamin A tells the cells what kind of tissue to form. So it's essentially the architect. And vitamin D tells them when and how to seal. So it's the project manager. And without that blueprint for a healthy gut is just going to sit there idle. Here's the cross-system connection. Vitamin D doesn't just influence gut repair. It regulates over 200 genes, including those for insulin receptors, immune tolerance, mood regulation. Low vitamin D means leaky barriers everywhere, in your gut, in your lung, in your skin, even the blood-brain barrier. which is why you can see fatigue, anxiety, autoimmune flares all at once because it's the same mineral deficiency, or in this case, hormone deficiency. So, yes, it's called a vitamin, but it behaves like a hormone, like a master hormone. And that's why you'll see me circle back to vitamin D again and again, even when we reach into the energy module itself. Butyrate and short chain fatty acids, these are your microbial messengers. Remember that raincoat layer that we talked about? Butyrate is what keeps it shiny and intact. Your good bacteria make it when they digest prebiotic fiber. Butyrate doesn't just feed your colon cells. It tells your immune system to calm down and your tight junctions to tighten up. So it really is kind of a conductor, and it kind of gets everybody calmed down and focused on what they need to focus on. It's like the construction foreman walking up to a job site saying, stay focused, keep sealing those gaps. You calm down and don't be so wild over there. That's what it's saying to your immune system. So here's where that message travels. Butyrate also talks to your mitochondria, the little engines in every cell, telling them to burn fuel more cleanly. So when you start feeding your microbes well, they're literally teaching your body to make cleaner energy. And we'll talk about this a little bit more, but when our cells are constantly requiring glucose over and over, glucose is a dirty burning fuel. But butyrate, remember I told you, it's a short chain fatty acid. It is a lipid, it's a fat. And when we burn fat in the cells, we actually burn a cleaner fuel. It doesn't have as much soot or rust or however you want to say it. And it produces about 4 times the amount of energy. Butyrate is one of those things that not only is going to help to repair that gut lining, but it's also going to feed your microbiome that sends a good message to your cells to burn fat and to produce clean energy in a larger amount. All right. Finally, we need antioxidants. And I want you to think of them as clear coat over fresh paint. They protect that new tissue from oxidative damage while it's healing. Oxidative damage is essentially free radicals that come from us just metabolizing our food, producing fuel. And when we do that in a dirty way, there are free radicals that damage not only our mitochondria, our cell membranes, our barriers that we have over certain cells. It really causes a lot of damage. And when we have these new tissues, they're more at risk until they're a day or two old so that they're well formed and they can protect themselves. But polyphenols and antioxidants help with that. Things like berries, olive oil, green tea is a beautiful one, turmeric, rosemary. These aren't just anti-inflammatory foods. They train your detox pathways to recycle glutathione, which you'll recognize later in the energy section when we talk about cellular cleanup. They're microscopic shields that keep your repairs from rusting and your hormones from being reoxidized before they can do. All right, so let's put it all together. Let's pull all of that into real life, okay? You don't have to memorize every nutrient. You just need to build meals that hit these repair pillars. Protein at every meal for glutamine, glycine, collagen. Colorful plants for antioxidants and polyphenols. Healthy fats, avocado oil, olive oil, omega-3s to calm down inflammation and to help balance hormones, and gentle fiber, the kind that comes from food, not a supplement, that is cooked veggies, chia, flax, PHGG, and to feed your butyrate production. I want you to think warm, soothing, simple. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It doesn't have to be exotic. Simple meals can be very healing and very soothing to the gut. Soups, stews, smoothies, roasted veggies. Your gut doesn't want fancy right now. It wants predictable, nurturing consistency. It wants to know that it's getting glutamine and glycine and collagen at every meal. It wants to know that it's getting the antioxidants. So when it builds these new cells, they're protected. Remember, the same plate that heals your gut will later become the plate that balances your insulin curve, that stabilizes your thyroid rhythm. We're building momentum now that carries forward through the rest of the metabolic loop. So it's not like you have to figure out how to build your plate to heal your gut, and then you have to figure out how to build your plate to balance your hormones, and then you have to figure it's the same. It's all the same. We're just going to layer on more information at each pillar of the metabolic loop so you understand that what you're doing, what you started in day one, is going to help you all the way through the loop. So here's something that often gets missed, and I know I say that a lot, but it really is. And I can speak from experience because before I made the transition into functional medicine, I was one of those people that rolled their eyes about sleep. I always said, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead, or stress reduction. I'm like, I live on stress. And so, I now look back and I'm a little embarrassed and I realize how stupid I sounded. So you really have to look at the lifestyle inputs that are going to make or break this repair. Because if you are a stress monster who is not getting any sleep at all, and you're not allowing your body that rest that it needs in order to repair and detox and rebuild, then the best diet in the world is not going to make a difference. You're still going to be having that cortisol just pumping through. You're never going to give your body an opportunity to repair itself. So if you're rushing, scrolling, multitasking every time you eat, you're telling your body that there's no time to heal. Simple, simple, simple. Rituals like deep breathing before meals, sitting down having a place setting in front of you, chewing thoroughly, sitting without your phone actually right in front of you, turned on, is going to help you to heal your gut, to repair your hormones, and to actually have your cells to produce good, clean energy. And sleep, always sleep. Your intestinal stem cells divide at night. So if you're up late or running on 4 hours of sleep, you're literally cutting your body's repair crew in half. Sleep is also when leptin and ghrelin reset. These are your hunger and satiety hormones. And when cortisol drops, so your thyroid can come out and do its work. See, it's the whole loop. So we're focusing on the gut right now. We're building our foundation, but a rested gut means stable hormones, means restored energy. All right. So how do we know if what we're doing is working? You'll know that the wall of your gut is sealing when you start to notice three things. Your reactions to food lessen. You can tolerate more variety. Some people are eating the same meal on repeat. Now, if that's something that you're doing to keep your diet simple and to keep all the different pieces and parts consistent in your diet, I'm all for that. But if you can only eat 5 things because your gut is so reactive, then you're going to notice that your wall is resealing when you're able to add some of those favorite foods that you had back in. Of course, if they are healthy for your gut. Your energy is going to stabilize. No more fatigue after you eat, or headaches after you eat, or just literally feeling like you can't hold your eyes open, or maybe a couple of hours after you eat, you feel really shaky. So it's going to be that stable, kind of predictable energy throughout the day. And here's a big one: your mood evens out because the gut-brain connection is smoothing inflammation. And some of that moodiness that you have, or that unpredictability where you really just can't tolerate stress, is the fact that your brain is inflamed. That all of this inflammatory stuff going on in your gut is that gut-brain connection, and it's sending those signals to your brain, causing brain inflammation and irritability as well. So when that happens, your insulin starts to behave. Cortisol comes down, thyroid converts from inactive to active form, and it's able to get into the cell so that your metabolism can actually pick up. That's the proof that the gut hormone energy loop is syncing up. Okay, so up next, you now know the materials and the method for rebuilding the gut wall, but we still need one last piece: the community that maintains it. Those sentinels on the wall, the ones that help your immune system to know what's going on inside, what's in the gut, to know how it should react on the outside. Because just like a garden, once you repair the soil, you have to reseed it. And that's where probiotics come in. And there's a lot of confusion about how to do it right. So, in our next video, we're going to unpack what most people get wrong about probiotics, how to choose the right strains for you, and how this reseeding phase helps your hormones, your mood, your metabolism to be steady long term.